Right, so the blog for Jane Foster is finally out. And when I say blog for Jane Foster, I mean we get a release window, not date, window for Jane, and we also get some other stuff as well that's interesting, has me kind of intrigued. But it's the June development update. It's not an actual blog breaking down Jane. That's what I thought we were getting. I thought we were getting like a proper blog. I also thought we were getting this on Thursday, not Friday, and I'm filming this video on Saturday, so you know. But it says here, hi Marvel's Avengers faithful, update 2.4 is now live and in your hands, and we're excited to reveal news about update 2.5 and beyond. In addition to more details about the Mighty Thor, we're also announcing the next step in our long-term plan to continue expand the story. That should be expanding. People writing the development updates, you need to get an editor to proofread through your stuff. There shouldn't be spelling mistakes on your official blogs. Expand the story and continue to expand the story and playable content of Marvel's Avengers, a new Warzone, and a mega level threat that will be coming next after update 2.5. So we basically have 2.5 and what's coming for 2.6. There's two things coming in 2.6, which is would sound more exciting until I say what they are. One of which is an Omega level threat. What that Omega level threat is well, it's up to you whether you're excited for it or not. I'm passive over it. It's new content. New content's always good. So we previously talked about our hope that the gap between 2.4 and 2.5 would be shorter than previous updates, and we're thrilled to say that we're on track to deliver. We expect the Goddess of Thunder to join your Avengers roster in just a few weeks in late June. I prefer an actual date. I would prefer next week as opposed to just a few weeks in late June. Considering we're already in mid-June, I would expect it either at the end of next week or in 2 weeks' time. I wouldn't expect it. I'd probably more so expect it in the last week of June. How do I feel about that? Fine. I prefer it to come sooner. Obviously, I would have preferred a new character in one of the other months, in one of the other previous months of the year. But this is what we're getting. We'll take what we can get, and it looks like there's content coming on the horizon. But yeah, the Mighty Thor, aka Jane Foster, will come with her own hero challenge card and a new heroic mission chain that rewards cosmetics and intelligence files that tell the story of how this version of Jane Foster found her way to our universe. This whole thing is the least interesting thing to me. Like, I get why you did this for Spider-Man. I get why you made a mission chain. I get why you made less of an effort with Spider-Man, because he was a one console character. He was an exclusive character, so you can make less of an effort with the story stuff for him, and you can make his story stuff not kind of matter. But this is a character that's coming out on every console. This is a character that people love. I feel like people who like Jane and like the Jane Foster version of Thor and prefer that to the Odin son. I don't know if there's anyone that prefers it, but there's going to be people that were big fans of the Jane Foster run when she was Thor. And specifically me, I didn't read the run, but I would have preferred an Operation or her to get a bit more love than this. I've said before, it doesn't matter what the character is now, outside of Spider-Man. These like mission chain things, these heroic mission chains, these heroic events, they need to go. They need to be phased out of the game. They just shouldn't exist outside. They shouldn't exist outside of Spider-Man. They shouldn't, or exist outside of console exclusive characters, which should only be Spider-Man or Spider-Man specific characters. I don't think we'll ever see another console exclusive character again. I hope not. But yeah, this shouldn't be what they were doing with Jane. This shouldn't be what they were doing right after Spider-Man. It shouldn't have been the first hero drop of the year that's coming in June, by the way, halfway through the year. And we're getting our first piece of actual content, and it's not actually bringing us anything new outside of the new toy to test in the same playground. It's hard for me to get hyped over a heroic mission chain. It's very difficult. Jane is looking like, from the rest of the blog, from the rest of what the blog says, she's looking like she's gearing up to be the best character in the game. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like she's going to have a lot of Thor's kit, and she's going to have more stuff on top of it. And Thor is already great. Thor is already one of the meta characters in the game. Him and Hawkeye are kind of, they're interchangeable of who's the better one. I think Hawkeye. A lot of other people think Thor. And this all reads, I'll get into it in a minute, but it all reads very well, and it reads very good, and it's exactly what I wanted out of Jane, because they kind of have to steal moves from between Jane and Thor. I think they have to. When it comes to characters like Hulk and She-Hulk, Iron Man and War Machine, characters like that, there's enough differentiation between them. But Jane and Thor, or Thor and Mighty Thor, there's not enough differentiation between the actual characters themselves that you can give Jane a few other moves and I would take it. So basically what it says, she's a fully voiced hero. Are you gonna do anything to show off the voice actress? Because you didn't do much for Spider-Man. You're gonna have an interview. Are you gonna have, like, how much celebration are you gonna have for Jane's voice actor? Because is she gonna be named through, like, are you gonna do like an interview with her before she comes out? Because if you're not gonna celebrate her in the game, you might as well celebrate that this new character's coming on social media with, like, interviews, and, like, she should do stuff to sell the voice actress should do stuff to sell that she's in this game, and to sell that, hey, look, this is really cool that I get to be in Avengers. So yeah. You don't even name the voice actress in your blog. I think there's a bit of a problem there. Like, that's my biggest problem with Jane, with bringing in Jane as a whole. As much as the character looks good on paper, and everything that they're saying about the character looks good on paper, it doesn't feel like a celebration. It doesn't feel like a celebration of the character. It doesn't feel like an event. It just feels like you're throwing her in there and you don't really care. That's what it feels like. It feels the same as Spider-Man, the same effort level as Spider-Man, like you're throwing him in there and you don't really care. But even with this, there's been no promotional video. There's been no, like, and what I mean by that is there's no, like, CG trailer to like, say, oh yeah, Jane's here now. That's really cool. There's barely any story to go with Jane being in this game. There's not really much substance here. It's just a new character, and it feels very mobile gamey. It feels very Marvel Heroes. It doesn't feel like the same kind of celebration that you'd given to Kate, you'd given to Clint, you'd given to Black Panther. It feels like now you've got this kind of... It feels lazy. It feels very lazy. But yeah, if you're gonna make the character mainly an Echo, all the rest of the other stuff, like the story stuff and everything, should have been really good and should have been a hit out of the park. But it's not. So I'll tell you what, the character better be amazing. But it does feel like saying here that she's fully voiced and brings in a new actor to our expanding cast. You could have named her, given her some acknowledgement in the blog, because I don't even know who's voicing Jane. I don't think anyone knows who's voicing Jane outside of the person voicing Jane and CD and the rest of the cast. I don't think anyone else like knows the name of the voice actress, which is terrible. Which is terrible. Like there should be something here. They should have, like, at least in brackets, the name of the voice actress. She will have her own collection of new cosmetics. Great, obviously. What cosmetics are they going to do, though? What can you do for Jane? How many different looks does she have in the comics? She's got, like, the Valkyrie look. She's got the movie look. And maybe, like, a Jane, like, casual alter ego look, including emotes, takedowns, and nameplates, as well as Jane-specific remixes of existing Thor takedowns and emotes. I would prefer if you just had them all be new, instead of Jane-specific remixes to existing Thor takedowns and emotes. Does that just mean that it's the same animation but it's Jane? Or does that mean that she's doing stuff that's got a bit more flair, that's got a bit more, pizzazz to it? Where, like, Thor is going to feel like just a straight up brawler and Jane's going to feel actively different and she's going to have more of her personality showing through? Or is it going to be, like, just Thor's animation but a woman doing it? Is that what they mean? It doesn't exactly say, and that's the biggest problem with doing these kind of blogs like this, is that, you say something like that and it doesn't mean a lot. In our previous update, we revealed that as Thor, some of Jane's abilities will naturally echo the Odinsons. However, Jane is her own kind of Thor, and several design changes set her apart. The biggest differences start with a new intrinsic, All Mother's Blessing, and a new overcharge ability, God Tempest. Her ultimate ability, the All Weapon, is also brand new, and as we draw inspiration from her comic runs as Thor and Valkyrie, and allow you to smite foes with Underyarn, I think it's Underyarn, as well as Mjolnir. So she's going to have two hammers. But at least from my from my knowledge, Underyarn is the one from the last Jason Aaron run, the one that Thor has, which can kind of change what it is. Like instead of being like it kind of works like trick arrows, like Hawkeye's trick arrows, where he's got like a hammer that turns into a bomb, or a hammer that's got spikes on it, or a hammer that it kind of works like it's like a symbiotic hammer. That would be cool to see how that works. And the fact that that's not Jane's, they are pulling stuff from the comics, and I like that. And having two hammers on the go at once, she'll kind of feel like movie Thor in that way, like in Endgame. So that's pretty cool. I do like the idea of that, and I'm interested to see what that looks like. And is she gonna have like 100 hammers flying around all at once? That has me very excited. Some of Jane's baseline abilities are also new, including her new ranged combo and a new ranged power attack. On top of that, Jane will perform some of the familiar abilities she shares with Odin's son with her own signature flair. This all reads really well. This all sounds really good, and considering Thor is amazing already, the fact that we're getting basically a buffed up Thor, I think it's going to be very difficult to justify playing as Thor after Jane comes, because Jane is just Thor but better. That's what it reads. It reads like essentially what they did going from Kate to Clint. It's very difficult to justify playing as Kate unless you're just doing grinding. It's very difficult to justify playing as Kate now that Clint's in the game, because Clint is just Kate but so much better. This is even more gratuitous than that. And so unless if for like the 2-year anniversary all of the base game characters get a buff for like a 2-year anniversary thing, I still think there's some of the DLC characters need buffs as well, but like Kate and probably Black Panther as well. But yeah, if they bring this in, and if more characters look like this, then yeah, I'm more on board with the whole Echo idea now. Now that this is what we're getting, I'm more on board with it. That's not saying that I want the game flooded with Echoes. I'm not saying that at all. I still want to see more really original, super powerful characters. Like, I've seen Blue Marvel get thrown around a lot. I've seen Sentry get thrown around a lot. Those ones would be amazing. I want to see Sentry in this game. We'll be going into a lot of detail to cover all of Jane's abilities in gameplay in the coming weeks, with a story video, gameplay trailer, dev blogs, and live streams that will dig into the details ahead of her launch. I would like maybe like a mini roadmap for like dates on when we're gonna get these, because I'll just be checking Twitch all the time to see when the streams are. I'll just be checking YouTube all the time to see when the streams are. I mean, you can always follow the Play Avengers Twitter, but I don't think people should have to, because I don't think not every person who plays the game will have Twitter. Not everyone that plays the game will read these blogs. So I wish stuff like this was actually attached in game, and we could read the blog in-game, because that's the easiest way to know that people playing see everything, because I had someone come into my streams that didn't even know that Jane was coming. So the Jane announcement should have been in the game. If you want to set your game up like a mobile game, which this looks like, then yeah, do that. We've been recording for 20 minutes. Fucking hell, this is going to be a long video. Grab your popcorn, guys. But yeah, what's after update 2.5? We've said in the past that we expect 2.5 to be the first in an ongoing series of hero and villain focused content updates, and we're excited to share a first look at what's on deck beyond 2.5. I've got a big picture of cloning labs. We'll be adding to the game's story with 2 new challenges as part of an ambition to advance our narrative through hero and villain-centric content. The first is a villain-centric war zone that will reveal MODOK's fate after the defeat of his Kree Sentinel. That will lead our heroes to AIM's cloning lab, a new Omega level threat where your high-level strike team will challenge and defeat a revitalized MODOK in a new multiplayer villain fight. I am so middling on this, because I would rather see new villains introduced than retreads of old ones. Cloning labs is an idea that is so in the weeds of how the game looked in the opening months, that I think, looking back at it, even if it's been retooled and updated and all that stuff, I don't know if it's going to feel right coming out after Wakanda, coming out after whatever. And how has it been tooled? Is it tooled that Jane's going to do really good in it? Has it been tooled so that, Black Panther's going to be really good on it? Or is it still tooled to be for the base game characters? As if it's tooled for base game characters, that means that every character will be able to do well in it, which is good. If it's tooled for a specific new character, I don't think that's as good. Cloning Labs will be new endgame content that rewards conquering heroes. With high power level from brand new exotic gear sets. We need new gear sets. I think that's really good. We need new endgame content, because so far we have 2 pieces of endgame content, and this looks like it's going to be bringing in. This is going to bring it up to 3. It's been a long time since the Cloning Labs was first announced. No shit. It was first announced like a week after the game came out. It was supposed to come out a month after the game came out. It's now nearly 2 years after the game came out. That is a joke. That is actually... It's not even a joke. That's an insult to players. Like, if you had someone at work, say if you had an employee that was over a year late on meeting a deadline, right? What would you do with that employee? He wouldn't be working for you anymore. He or she wouldn't be working for you anymore. So, missing a deadline by over a year in this game is beyond a joke. And the fact that this game is still running with having a piece of content that was announced a month into the game's life cycle and now coming to the game nearly 2 years after the announcement is such a joke. And I swear they're doing the same thing with patrol mode. Like, that is... Patrol mode is the new cloning labs. Now that we've got cloning labs coming, fuck me. That is... When I heard that this was coming, I laughed. I audibly laughed, because this is such a joke. It's so stupid. Like, I thought cloning labs was canned. And the thing is, how can you do cloning labs to make it feel on par with the Wakanda raid? To make it feel on par with even Cosmic Cube, you know, to even make it on par with the Super Adaptoid OLT. Is that gonna feel? Is it gonna feel as good? I don't know. Since its original conception, our design philosophy for the game has evolved to be more villain forward, and we design. No, it fucking hasn't. It fucking hasn't, because you can't say that, and then we look at the past year and we see no fucking villains. We haven't seen any fucking heroes either. We haven't seen anything. Like, how can you say that it's evolved to be more villain forward when what villains do you have? You've got the Kree, which don't even have a face at the moment, and you've got Monica in every fucking thing, even though she's meant to be dead. What? That is just a blatant, that's just a blatant lie. And we decided that the design for the mission no longer met our standards. We think the changes we're making, especially the new boss fight, it's not new though, is it? It's MODOK again. And MODOK was already boring, so at least the Super Adaptoid was a fun idea, and you made a fun idea into a bullshit fight. You made a fun idea into a fun fight with the OLT. How do you take something that's boring and make it fun? Or make it a much more satisfying and meaningful and mega level threat experience. I'm okay with this. I don't have much of an idea about it. What's the other? So the Warzone isn't gonna have a boss attached to it. Or is the Warzone's gonna be like a powered down MODOK, and then the OLT Cloning Labs is gonna be MODOK at its full power. Is that what I'm reading from here? Or is the Warzone just gonna be like finding intel on where MODOK is, and then we fight and then that takes us to Cloning Labs, and that's the thing. I don't know. We need more information on that. I'm middling on that. I would prefer if this was completely changed into an operation and the OLT was at the end of the operation. You don't need to have operations that have characters attached. I feel like you can do an operation that is story forward. If you want the story to be such a big thing, then make operations more frequent and more story-centric, instead of just, here's a new character we have to introduce, here's a new character that we have to introduce. We hope you're enjoying the revamped event rewards from Update 2.4, and we're just as excited as we are to see and you're just as excited as we are to see Mighty Thor join the Avengers later this month. We can't wait to share more about the upcoming Warzone and OLT in our next development update. I bet Thor was a rush decision. I feel like Thor was definitely a rush decision, because like Echo character, no story content surrounding it. Jane Foster was not planned to come out before She-Hulk, I don't think. But yeah, I'm excited for Jane. I think she's gonna be cool. I think she's gonna be the best character in the game, like I said. But these hero events do not do anything for me. They don't. I'm sorry, but if you want more story content, you want more stuff like that, make it. Fucking make it. Don't release any more characters like this, please, because it doesn't get anyone hyped. I don't think it gets anyone hyped. Certainly doesn't get me hyped. The actual kit read-up, or what kit read-up there is, I'm interested to see actual gameplay. I'm interested to see like a deep dive on Jane, if they're still doing those. We haven't had a deep dive since Hawkeye, which is weird. It's very weird. There's not even like an actual name for the mission, for the like hero event. It's just called Mighty Thor, which is cool, I guess. But yeah, everything in there's nothing here that gets me really excited. The promise for new content is okay. My biggest fear is that it's so little, and it is very late in the year to get our first pieces of content. It's something that was promised to us over a year ago, so that made me chuckle. It did. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts about all this is. Are you excited for Jane? Do you think she's going to be the best character in the game, like I think? And are you excited for Cloning Labs? What was your reaction when they finally dropped Cloning Labs? And I tell you what, I think stuff like this is why they're so bad at communication, because so few people knew that Cloning Labs was being worked on in the early stages of the game, that like I wouldn't have known about Cloning Labs if I wasn't watching streamers play the game. So I feel like so many people just didn't know that Cloning Labs was a thing. I feel like they've gotten away with this. They might have gotten away with this. Patrol mode, I don't think they're ever gonna fucking get away with that. I don't think they can get away with that, because that was on a fucking roadmap. This was never put on a roadmap. There was never an actual release date for it. It was just said, hey, we're working on this cool mission. Here's some things. And then it got leaked. And then because it got leaked, I think that's why they reworked it. Because of the leak. Not because the fucking things changed to be more villain focused. That's bullshit. I think that's so shit. You want to put things in your blog like, we're making the game more villain focused. Fucking show us that it's villain focused. Because this is a villain that we've already fought. Someone that's had so much time in the sun. Like, MODOK had the entire campaign. Move on to someone else. Show us the Kree. Show us, like, do more stuff with Ultron. Fucking, you could have kept Cloning Labs in the sink, and it could have become the Ultron factory. Like, I feel like MODOK isn't a character that gets anybody hyped. especially after that fucking Patton Oswalt show, especially after that. But yeah, I don't think he was necessarily that interesting in the story, so I don't... Seeing MODOK pop up again, I'm not hyped for that. But new content is new content, and we have to see what it looks like when it comes into the game. It could be fucking fun. Like I said, every like OLT thing that they've done, the Cosmic Cube mission, the OLT, and the raid, they're all really friggin' good. So, I mean, we need to see what that looks like when it comes out. And it's new. It actively looks new. The only problem with me is that it's not based on anything that already exists in the Marvel Universe. It's another original thing. The only thing that makes it a Marvel thing is that you fight MODOK at the end. I don't like this game's insistence on using original stuff. It feels like they're embarrassed of the source material, and I don't know why. This is the biggest fucking thing, and it's almost like you're embarrassed to go all out with it, and that sucks, in my opinion. But anyways, let me know in the comments below what you thought about this entire blog. Are you excited for Jane? Are you excited for Cloning Labs? Yeah. See you guys in the next video. See you guys on stream. Peace.